In our third video here, we're going to go look at two maps that aren't actually accessible to players yet. We're going to start with the Underworld, which is a Final Fantasy IV inspired gigantic underground cavern that's filled with magma and so on, but players are still able to go through it and whatnot. One thing I'll show here is if you see the yellow splotches that are present throughout here, actually use a similar code to the clouds in the highest altitude on the Overworld map to generate those. And so those will actually, over time, travel and change and combine and whatnot, heading toward, the east in the same way that the clouds do. So that's a neat little effect there. If we go up here to the top center, that'll actually be the access point for where players will enter the Underworld here. There'll be a Dwarven Kingdom and other things such as that. It's going to be a burning forest over here to the southeast. You can see the at-turn symbols are used in the same way that they are on the Overworld to represent forests and so on. So I'm just gonna zip around a little bit, see how a lot of this looks. The overall land formation and so on of the map here was inspired by a world map design that I did about 20 years ago for a project that ended up turning into Cleft of Dimension, which ended up turning into End of Time. So this is just kind of a nod to some of our beginnings way back, well before a Final Fantasy themed MUD was even in consideration for this particular code. But I think it has a nice aesthetic here. So now we're going to go over to the Moon, also inspired by Final Fantasy IV. The Underworld will likely be opened up to players sometime in about the next year. The Moon is going to be a lot further down the road. And it's hard to tell just zipping around here, but the image that we have as the basis for the Moon here is actually a paletted image of the Earth's moon. I don't know that this will end up being what we stick with, but it was a fun thing to play with and to have a starting point to get the aesthetic for the way we wanted the moon map to look. So, and as far as any sort of quick views of the world map stuff, this should pretty much conclude it. If you're interested in seeing a much more exhaustive look at the world map systems, there's going to be a link in the description of this video for the full 30-minute map demonstration. And there'll be some pretty neat stuff in that you wouldn't have seen in any of these shorter videos, so check it out.